when we decided to write this book, we say we would like to avoid the classical way of writing a manuscript, sending to the publisher, waiting for the answers, and so we decided to co-design this book, if you want. So the idea was to say to people on some forums, please, you could come on our website and you will be able to see the chapters when we are writing those chapters. So the idea was to send those chapters every 2-3 weeks. And we attracted roughly 500 people. And together they generated roughly 2,000 comments, feedbacks, impressions, and based on those feedbacks we rewrote each chapter a second time, sometimes third times. So it was clearly writing with Alex and myself, but we collected the feedbacks and we tried to integrate those feedbacks in the second or final writing. It was the idea. But just as we were in the business model innovation, we were also impressed by the Dell model. Mm-hmm. They ask money before to sending you the computer, and we say maybe we could do the same. Mm-hmm. And so we asked those contributors or co-designers, okay, you could come and you will receive those chapters, but you have to pay for it. And so the first one paid 25, the last one 250, and so it was an idea for us to two things. First, collect money to be able to print the book, but also to test the market, to test the potential success of this book before to launch the book. It was a way for us to applying business model innovation, testing, prototyping with our own venture, if you will. Yeah, we are, in fact, we are neighbors in the same village. And Alex used to be my PhD student, so at the beginning this business model came from a research activity and Alex thesis, and so between 2000 and 2004 we defined this business model at Canvas. At that time we called that business model ontology because it was an academical research, and so we switched afterwards. And from 2004 2008 we simplified the model. We tried to have something which is very useful by practitioners, and so we simplified, and in 2008 we decided, okay, it seemed that it's mature enough to start this book with the process I explained you.
Okay, thank you.
Is no, we never anticipated this success. I remember when we started with Alex, we were in my office pitching the ideas and discussing and trying to find the best way to write this book and so on. We say, hey Alex or East, if we reach 20,000 it would be great. And now we are reaching 500,000 copies. No, never anticipated. So it's I think maybe I will take two of them. The first one is most of them think that if they have a good product, a good service, a good product innovation, that's enough to explain the future success. And I think most of the great example we have in our mind, Google, Amazon.com, Skype, has proven that product innovation is not enough. We need to consider some other components around the pure product innovation. The distribution channels, the kind of customers, the resources you need to have before launching your companies, the revenue model. And so I think it's one problem that most of the entrepreneurs have. The second one is they think that the first idea is the best one. They have one idea and they want to launch the company. So they say, okay, I have one idea and the remaining part is executing. They've tried to find money, they're trying to organize everything. And I think also this kind of company has proven that the first one is not necessarily the best one. It could be interesting to consider some other alternatives, ideas. And the final one is most of them, when they have this good idea, maybe after one or two iterations, they launch the company. They want to get the money and they say, okay, I will launch. And they forget that it could be more interesting to test a business model. And this idea of testing a business model that Steve Blank have called that customer development, or Eric Ries's lean startup. This idea of using the canvas and coming with customer development and trying to prototype, to go outside the building, to ask customer what they think, try to engage a good relationship with those customers, not for getting a lot of customers for launching, but just for testing the model before to put a lot of money. And I think those three ideas could be helpful for some entrepreneurs. So product alone is not enough. Don't hesitate to prototype. The first idea is not necessarily the good one. And third, test a business model before going further and before executing your business model. But I fully agree. But I will take some examples before. You agree that if you read a book, it's interesting, it's quite easy. If you have to write a book, it's a little bit more complicated. If in another context, you know the alphabet, because for your alphabet in 42 characters you can do everything. But for mastering your language, you need much more practice. And so I think it's exactly the same here. You have a tool, and with this tool you can do something which is basic, extraordinary, advanced, very innovative, depending. So that's the reason why we came with different workshops where it's possible not only to see the concept, or because as you mentioned 9 blocks is very easy to master, but maybe to practice and to see where it's possible to improve some business model, or it's possible to prototype business model, or is it good techniques for having a good customer insight, for testing model. I think this kind of thing you need time for mastering. I think it's exactly the same. You have a tool. If you are a beginner, you can do even an hammer, you can do simple things. But if you are a good artcraft people, you can do something which is very sophisticated. And that's the reason why we consider that there are many levels, if you want. The first one is you don't know. There's level 0, if you want. Level 1, you are beginners. You know the concept. And level 2, you know the concept, but you can use the relationship between the concept. And the third level is you are able to create some very innovative. And the idea of those workshops is to pass from level 0 to 1. You use the concept as a checklist. To level 2, you can see the different relationships between the different concepts. And level 3, you are able to innovate and to come with great ideas and create nice business models, successful startups or companies.